Slave DiBiase.
I was sitting up there talking to y'all. Y'all couldn't hear nothing, man. So we're going to do this all over again. What's going on, YouTube? Thank you, everybody, for coming back to the channel. It's your boy, Slave DiBiase. This is another live episode of the Offenders Initiative podcast. I'm your illustrious host. All my true offenders, all my stoneheads, thank y'all for pulling up. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with your boy. You know what I'm talking about? And I just want to tell y'all before we get started, I got monetized about a month ago. I got monetized about a month ago, and I was really, really happy about the work that I put in and all of that. Everything was starting to come together, all for me to wake up on the 22nd of August, and I got an email from YouTube at like 2:30 in the morning stating that my channel is no longer monetized. Has anybody been seeing this whole little wave of YouTube demonetizing folks and all of that? If you're a reaction channel, you know what I'm saying? I know motherfuckers is going through it right now, So salute to everybody. At this point, man, I'm trying to do it because I know I've built a community here that actually looks forward to some of the things that I do. So I'm trying to do it for the love of the game at the moment, man. But it's really, really hard to do that when you were through the door and now you're not through the door anymore. So, salute to everybody that might be going through the same exact thing. Salute Jamie Ace 420. Thank you for joining me, man. Roll something up, Jamie. What you smoking on? And again, if you're here for a sesh, man, tell me what you're smoking on, what you're smoking out of, and where you're from. You know what I'm saying? We always like hearing stuff about that. As y'all can see, y'all see the title of today's live. Season 1 of Lanterns, episode 2. It dropped on Sunday. I was gonna get at it yesterday, but after finding out everything that happened with my demonetization for absolutely no motherfucking reason, here we are. So I had to muster up the energy to do all this. At this point, motherfuckers is doing it for the love of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. I'm gonna do this for as long as I can before the shit stresses me out and pisses me off. Hold on. Yeah, YouTube been doing too much lately, dabbing hella jelly rising. Salute to the jelly rising. Salute to Jamie Ace 420. And yes, YouTube has definitely been doing too much lately. I have been seeing folks that have been doing this content for over 10 years to get yanked out of the YPP, you know what I'm saying? The YouTube Partner Program. And it's really, really sad because in my opinion, and I'm telling y'all, this is my opinion, nobody else's, they're doing this so that motherfuckers will get back out there in the workforce. They want more motherfuckers building bridges. They want more motherfuckers flipping burgers and all of that. How dare you be a content creator and want to do some shit for yourself? How dare you don't want to work for the government or work for all this stuff, all these different corporations out here, and how dare you want to do something for yourself? Yeah, so, that's crazy how it is. What's going on, Jaguar Actual, man? Yeah, I'm just telling these folks about how I was in the YouTube Partner Program, but now I no longer am. I got demonetized for absolutely no reason. And at this point, I'm doing it for the love of the game. Hold on. On YouTube. I really hate when people call me while I'm doing this with y'all, man, because it takes away from everything. All right. They removed mine too, bro. Oh man, see, that's crazy. That's crazy. So everybody's kind of going through it at the moment, man. They took your coins for what? What happened, bro? You know I'm a reaction channel, right, Jack? And the motherfucker sent me an email at 2:30 in the morning on August 22nd stating that I am no longer in the monetization YouTube partner program because I'm reusing content. So you mean to tell me there are thousands of reaction channels all over this platform, and mine got hit for reuse of content? I don't even reuse people's content because that would be just letting shit play all the way through. You don't say nothing and you're acting like it's yours. I am a reaction channel. I react to the content, kind of like what we're going to do here today with Lantern Season 1, Episode 2. I put my own input in it. You know what I'm saying? I just don't have time to break down the episodes like everybody else and they be getting all the stills. And I don't have time to do that. I got kids. So, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is what we on at this point. I'm doing it for the love of the game, man. I need to see if there's another platform that I could possibly go to, because all this is the government wants folks to get back out in the workforce and to depend on them. Not saying that content creation should be your only source of income coming into your household, especially if you're a person who's just now starting off like me, where you're still building community and you made it through the threshold or whatever. I know people that are their subscribers are in the thousands and they're still active. They're not demonetized. I think they got all the rookies like myself out here. Shout out to my girl Comics and Danny. They putting her through the ringer, and I don't even know if we're going to see the woman come back on here and share her talent anymore because of all that long, hard work and money that she's put into her channel just to get yanked out of the program. Jamie says, keep your head up. Great content. Have you tried Rumble or Kick? Yeah, these are the things that I'm about to take a look into and get more familiar with, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. YouTube ain't it. I don't think YouTube is it anymore. I don't think it's it. DeMarcus Vaughn, what's going on, my boy? What's going on? Just talking about the demonetization wave that YouTube has been going on. Unfortunately, I got caught in that wave, you know what I'm saying? So at this point, anything that you see me doing here now, it's for the love of the game. I actually love making content. I love the fact that I was able to do something for myself. I love the fact that I was my own boss, made my own schedule and all that. And the government, big brother wants to take that away from you. They'd rather have you out there being a part of their corporations, breaking your back and working your ass to the motherfucking bone, all for some gold Timex, some gold Casio that they give you after 50 years of breaking your fucking back. I never wanted to be in that. I was in the Army for 15 years, 11 and a half active, 3 in the reserves. I want something for myself. You understand what I'm saying? So Lord forbid somebody wants to make their own way. But that's neither here nor there. Everybody that makes content out there, man, I'm praying for y'all. I'm praying, you know what I'm saying? Godspeed to all y'all. Keep doing what you're doing. And hopefully we can just find another way. But I'm starting to think that YouTube is not the spot. YouTube is not the spot for us. But that's neither here nor there. I want to show y'all something to show y'all how serious I was about this Lanterns episode, man. DeMarcus Vaughn said, try Patreon. I'm about to start looking into some other things, man, because it's definitely time. Hold on. This is how serious I was about Lanterns episode 2. Hold up. You on brightest day and darkest night, no evil shall escape my sight. I was on it. I was on it. You hear me? I was on it. Did anybody see Lanterns Season 1, Episode 2? Did anybody see the new episode of Lanterns? We're gonna review it. We're gonna react to some content by Emergency Awesome. Salute to him or whatever. I'm still not gonna stop what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna try him out. We're gonna try him out. Please give Emergency Awesome a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you saw the newest episode of Lanterns, I want to hear in the comments some of your theories. Hold on, y'all. Let me split this the right way so that we all can be on one accord. You know? And let's take a look.
Sinestro. How? Tell me what you know about manhunters.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie.
First of all, let's start right here and right now. This is not my Sinestro. Say what you want about the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan, how lame it might have been, but they got the lore right, they got the suit right, and they got Sinestro right. Mark Strong is my Sinestro. That's my Sinestro. Matter of fact, y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Comic book accurate Sinestro. Hold on, let me show y'all something. Bam. Here we go. Yeah. Comic book accurate Sinestro right here. This is my Sinestro. I don't know who that older man from the mountains of Caucasus is over there, but not my motherfucking Sinestro. I tell you that much. But hold on, y'all. Let's get back to it. All right. We got a lot of lore heavy. Yeah, test. Yeah, see? This is a test. Okay, I get what you're saying. That's why I'm trying to work. We got this episode 2 was very, very lore heavy. If you're a big Green Lantern fan, tell me anything that they might have missed in this episode that you know about. They're alluding to the android protectors that the Guardians originally made called Manhunters. Now, when I originally heard about this, the first thing that I thought as a DC fan, I thought about the Martian Manhunter. No, Martian Manhunter and Manhunters are two different things, as we will quickly learn here. So let's give a listen.
This will be my full Lanterns episode 2 video. There are a whole bunch of Easter eggs, references to the comics, WTF moments, so we will break it all down. Hal Jordan would like to know what your opinions on the color yellow and fear are, and if you slept with anybody else's wives since last week. We are also in the middle of that Green Lantern ring giveaway.
I ain't gonna lie, when that lantern showed up, let me see. Phil, it should back.
His wives since last week.
This part right here was dope. I do like the way that the lantern looks over there. It's kind of giving me feels of the first Green Lantern, Alan Scott. Kind of giving me the same kind of vibes that his lantern had.
We're also in the middle of that Green Lantern ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and post all your reactions to the episode in the comments. The episode is titled Trust Fall, which is a reference to the practice of groups or two or more individuals.
Right here, what's funny is this was Hal Jordan, played by Kyle Chandler, giving John Stewart, played by Aaron Pierre, he gave him the Green Lantern ring, and he told him, yo, it's time to fly. You know what I'm saying? And he says it's instinctual. Like, he said, I'm a test pilot. This is what Hal is telling John Stewart. He said, I'm a test pilot. He was like, when I think fly, I just do it. Well, I'm going to tell y'all early, when John is thinking fly, a little like bird pops up, a little green construct of a bird pops up. And it's kind of crazy that he's thinking of a bird. I'm wondering if that bird has anything to do with anything in John Stewart Jr.'s past. By the way, y'all know how the last episode we were talking and I said that Hal was being super disrespectful by calling John Stewart Jr. He might actually be calling him Jr. to like respect the fact that he's John Stewart Jr. But honestly, with the way that he says it, it sounds like a diss to me. Smack the shit out of Hal Jordan. Fuck you talking about?
Practicing trust falls, where one will fall, trusting.
Hold on. Jaguar Actual says, I'm just glad the Sinestro storyline is already over and we don't have to do it all over again. It's been done 3 times in animation and once in live action. It's played out. But here's the thing, though, Jag. Here's the thing, my boy. I think at this point, the Sinestro Corps does not exist just yet. I think we're getting right after he betrayed the Guardians. He betrayed Hal Jordan and all of that. And I have a question. Is it really betrayal if you find out more information than the people you're supposed to be getting taught from, your teachers are actually teaching you? Is it really betrayal if you go off and you do your own research and you're finding out there's more than meets the eye in everything that you've ever been taught? Is that really a betrayal? Just saying.
The other ones to catch them when they fall. In the context of the episode, specifically, it's a reference to Hal Jordan trying to get John Stewart to use the ring to fly, but also trusting that he would have caught him, would he have fallen, because the ring is running out of power. So if John Stewart had been able to fly at a certain point, he might have died when the ring ran out of power. And during
Which is messed up. How you gonna give him a half-charged ring and then tell him to fly? And look, just that quick, we always got bad luck. John would have fell out the air and would have cracked his ankle. No more basketball for you, LeBron.
The episode, they let you know that there's still a lot of mistrust between the two of them, even though Jon Stewart is working with Hal Jordan. Like, he still kind of trusts him, but not that much. They also play up a little bit of that relationship with Carrie and with Hal Jordan, too, where he's starting to trust her a little bit more, and she's starting to trust him a little bit.
Early prediction for everybody here. I'm sure that everybody that's here right now, whether religiously or in passing or on the watch back or whatever, I'm sure everybody's kind of picking up on the fact that this entire town might be filled with aliens of some sort. Not even aliens, just things that aren't human. I don't think anybody, except for maybe her and her kid, this lady right here, the sheriff, everybody else is not human, possibly. And you'll see why later when he explains in the episode what happened. Jaguar Actual said, well, he did slaughter a bunch of Green Lanterns. So yes, okay, you might be right about that. So yes, that would be betrayal. Sinestro was right, though. The Guardians are, as he said, arrogant, self-righteous little pricks. They aren't perfect. I would agree. Might be controversial in me saying this, whether fictional or nonfiction. I don't believe any God is perfect.
But more too. We get a lot of big lore dumps in the episode too. The Manhunters, we finally see Sinestro for the first time, played by Ulrich Thompson from Banshee. He's going to be...
Nah, that ain't my Sinestro. That ain't my motherfucker Sinestro. That is a old white man with pink skin and a porn stash. That ain't my Sinestro. Whose Sinestro is that? Ain't mine. Jaguar Actual said, and the fact that the villain this season is a manhunter will expose this and will be the backstory for the Red Lanterns. Facts, I do know a little bit about the Manhunters and the Red Lanterns, who I'm hoping to see in future seasons. Looking forward to Atrocitus in live action. Okay, so Jag, right? You've obviously been watching. I think Buddy that was talking to Jon Stewart, his name is Atan, and of course we just saw him in, what was it? The last time we saw him, he was getting murked on Raising Kanan. He was one of the old mob bosses. Wasn't that was Phil Russo, right? Yeah, him. I believe that you're looking at the human form of Atrocitus. I believe that dude is going to turn out to be Atrocitus. Red Lantern shit. You know what I'm saying? We always got to remember, everybody here viewing it, we always got to remember, the show is not called Green Lantern. It's called Lanterns. So there's so many different emotions and colors along the spectrum of being a lantern, not just a Green Lantern. They have Avarice. They have the Red Lanterns. They got the Blue Lanterns. They got Violet Lanterns. They got White Lanterns. They got Black Lanterns. All of that. If they do this right, they have a chance to get into all of that, and it could be something that could affect and have an impact of where the story of the new DCU is going. I haven't liked shit that Lane's Gunn has done since he's been a part or have had DC Studios in his hand. The first 2 episodes of this show are making up for the slop that he's put out since he's been in office. I always give shows a good 3 episodes before I'm like, shit, trash. I'm done from it. Jaguar Actual says, nah, I disagree. Becoming a lantern doesn't change your shape. The actor is a little dude. Atrocitus is a unit. You're right about that, but you also got to remember, use your nerd brain here, Jag. This is a whole different universe. Motherfuckers can just write in the lore and make it whatever, right? They could use a piece of something that came from the comics and then mix it with some bullshit that they came up as to why he's able to shapeshift different sizes and all that kind of stuff. Shout out my good mod, Jamie Lanier. Salute, salute, salute.
Be a lot of fun on this series. If you didn't see Banshee, he was fantastic as the villain during that. He's going to be a much more complicated type of villain during this series, too, if you know Sinestro from the Green Lantern comics. After all the Manhunter talk in this episode, and then setting up Sinestro in his rebellion against the Guardians, I definitely think they're setting up the idea of the reveal of the other emotional spectrum and the birth of the Yellow Lantern Corps.
See, this is what I'm talking about. The show is called Lanterns, not Green Lantern. We're going to explore all the different emotions of the spectrum. I hope we do. Said, yeah, he was great in Banshee. Give him a chance. Look, Jay, I'm gonna give him a chance, bro. But you know, I don't do no lies. That's the reason why my pod is called the Offenders Initiative Podcast, because I tell my truth up here. I tell the truth up here. And normally in 2026, when you tell the truth and you tell it like it is, you're deemed offensive. So yeah.
In the Yellow Lantern ring by the end of this at some point, Parallax. If you have not read the Sinestro Corps War from this, they actually get into the idea that that's one of the reasons why Sinestro rebelled against the Guardian Corps in the first place, because he discovered the secret verses in the Green Lantern Oath, the books of Oa, that talked about the other emotional spectrum. The way they're playing things on the series so far is that at this point in the timeline, Hal Jordan and the other members of the Green Lantern Corps don't know about the power of the other emotional spectrum.
See, and this is what I'm saying. How do you trust somebody that's supposed to be your guy and they're not even sharing full information with you? I'm here to tell y'all right now, in real life, I am not a lean not into your own understanding ass nigga. No, when I go into a situation, I want to know everything about it. Why are you telling half truths? Why do you have these people that are putting their life on the line in space not know about these other threats that they could possibly run into? Because if you look up the lore, depending on what happens to you, you could just make your own ring.
So they don't know about Parallax, they don't know about Yellow Lanterns, they don't know about Red Lanterns, any of the other spectrum. Right now in the DCU, it seems like the Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan, everybody else, like regular people around the universe, the other aliens, just think that there's only the green emotional spectrum of will, and that's it.
And that's not
But if you
right.
read the comics, you know that it goes way.
Okay, so y'all looking at these rings, right? Let's see the type of spectrum we got. We got Life is a White Lantern. I'm colorblind. I'm not finna do that to y'all. Although I'm always matching. This is why I like the Red Lanterns, because they have real beef and righteous anger. That's a fact. I did some research a few days ago on the Red Lanterns because I kind of already had a little theory on the Atan and the whole, we might see more lanterns than just the Green Lanterns. That was like my own little theory before I started seeing other people talk about it. But you know, you can play as Atrocitus on Injustice 2 for all my gamers out there. You know what I'm saying? By the way, go follow the gaming channel on Twitch. It's the same thing, Slave_DBIC. Go give me a follow, man. I'm on the road to 50 followers on there. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, we got life, we got death, we got compassion, we got hope, we got love, we got rage, avarice, fear, and willpower is right in the middle. The Green Lanterns are supposed to be like balance between all of these different emotions. It's supposed to be just like the just right balance of all these different emotions with willpower. So I'm anxious to see if we are going to delve into the lore and the knowledge of all the rest of these different lanterns that come up, because you already know what it is with the Black Lanterns. Those are basically reanimated corpses giving Green Lantern powers. Zombies with lantern rings is crazy to think about. Blackest Night. So we going that way. We're going into the Blackest Night prophecy.
Far beyond that, and it gets into Sinestro's backstory too. So we will see how this unfolds through future episodes. The opening scene starts with Hal Jordan in the past of 2016 after the alien.
This nigga Hal Jordan threw water on Buddy. Hold on.
Episodes. The opening scene starts with Hal Jordan in the past of 2016 after the alien sacrificed itself at the sheriff's station, the next morning waking John Stewart up with a bucket of cold water in as mean a way as possible, just because that's their relationship right now. Definitely trying to make things as hard as possible for John Stewart because he is not happy that he's trying to train his own replacement. You also start to pick up on...
Bruh, build a bridge and get over it. You're old news, but you, instead of being mad at this black man being chosen by a higher power, you should be trying to dip into the whole thought of, since Green Lanterns in this universe never have a trainee, why do I have one? Who wants me out the way? That's the question you should be asking yourself, Hal Jordan.
How mistrustful Hal Jordan is of the Guardians of Oa. When John Stewart asks him how the Guardians feel about what happened with the alien dying and all the dead aliens in town, the reason why Hal doesn't answer him and gives him a funny look is because he didn't tell the Guardians what happened because he doesn't trust them. This also plays into the idea.
He's also not liking the fact that Junior gave him that question in the first place. You got to remember, John Stewart is former military. He's a former military sniper, and he's an architect. He's a smart man. He's another person. And normally, take it from me, for a vet. Normally, when you have a mind of your own and you ask questions, you're normally deemed disrespectful. And it don't be like questions in a disrespectful manner. It's just having questions at all. Some dumb person that's in charge of you that puts their hands in their fucking pockets can come up with the stupidest shit to say and the stupidest task to do. And because you ask, what's up with that? I don't think that's right. Well, this code says this. You're deemed disrespectful just for asking questions.
When Jon Stewart asks him how the Guardians feel about what happened with the alien dying and all the dead aliens in town, the reason why Hal doesn't answer him and gives him a funny look is because he didn't tell the Guardians what happened because he doesn't trust them. This also plays into the idea of Antan, who's from...
See, this is what I'm saying. Yo, Jag, this is what I'm saying. My man Phil Russo could very well much morph on some and be a whole fucking, you know what I'm saying? Are they going to go CGI, though, or are they going to do some dumb shit? What you think? Are they going to have, like, another person play him? Like, that's bigger or whatever? Because that would be too... Nah, you paying that man too much money to let somebody split and to be a whole nother character if he transforms. It's going to be some CGI shit. There's definitely going to be some CGI shit.
From the group of aliens that the alien who sacrificed himself in episode 1 and the dead ones that were killed by Macon's group were all part of, who are refugees from the intergalactic war that were killed by the Manhunter. And the idea the Guardians were responsible for trying to hide the Manhunter in Rushville in the first...
Hold on. So we got a Guardian right here, and she's in human form as a elderly Caucasian woman. So maybe they can shapeshift into whatever they want in this universe. Maybe they can. We'll see.
Place. So everything so far is just pointing towards the Guardians being behind everything that's happening right now, and Hal Jordan is right to be mistrustful of them. So that's why he doesn't want Jon Stewart running to them, telling them everything that's happening.
Jesus Christ almighty. Unclench.
So this is why Hal tells John to chill out big time, like just...
He told that man unclench. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm asking you questions and you calling me a tight ass, and I'm just asking questions so that, you know, we don't die.
Unclench for a minute while we figure out what's going on. It's all this larger mystery that's going on behind these aliens, Antan's group, and what's happening with the Manhunters. One of the weirder things, though, is that by the end of the episode, Hal Jordan also doesn't know...
I ain't gonna lie, this scene right here was peak when Hal pulled up on Sinestro to ask him what does he know about Manhunters. Did we like the scene when at the end when he put on the suit, which is supposed to be like a model of his spacesuit or whatever, his air suit that he was using when he was a test pilot? Do we like the fact he threw on the suit and then we saw the little green glow around him when he was flying in the sky on his way to Oa? Because he got the Oa fast as shit, right? He got the Oa fast as shit. Did we like the whole flight scene or whatever? I did. I actually did. Lanterns is cooking. I'm fucking with it. There's a lot of people that don't like this show. I do. They are cooking.
That much about the Manhunters either. It has to go get help from Sinestro, who knew way more about them, and that has to do with his rebellion in the first place. So I think one of the bigger things we learn in this episode is that at this point in the DCU timeline, there's a lot of things that the Guardians have been able to keep secret from Hal Jordan and all the other beings in the universe for the most part. Almost all the beings. Because there are a couple that are around that still know about the Manhunters. They have their funny moment where Hal says that he's finally going to start training him and gives him his ring, telling him to try and fly.
Nah. Emergency Awesome said there was a tender moment in this episode when Hal tells John, I'm going to finally start training you. Mind you, John, by episode 1 of this season, John has been training with Hal for 2 months. So that means there's been 2 complete months of you training this grown man with nothing. You haven't been training him shit. So now you actually going to start telling him some real shit. Man, I ain't going to lie. I might have swung on Hal ass, bro. Just from everything that he's done all up until now. When he said that, I might have swung on his ass.
Which is meant to
at least mushed him.
Pay off the joke from episode 1 when he made him take the slow traditional route flying to Rushville on an airplane when he flew with the ring because he didn't know how to fly yet. And also Hal didn't take time to bubble Jon Stewart and carry him during the flight, which he could also do. But also he didn't do that because the ring was low on charge and he didn't stop to get his battery before he came to Rushville.
Man, please. You motherfuckers is acting like the Green Lanterns actually get paid human money. Shout out to Danhausen. You acting like the Lanterns get paid human motherfucking monies that they can just keep getting flight tickets and motherfucking rent-a-cars and all of that. Although they went through 2 cars in this series already, and John then took a flight there and back. So that's 2 flight tickets. Maybe they do got money. I don't know.
So it wasn't like Hal Jordan was trying to be a total butthole by not flying him to Rushville himself. It was that the ring was so low on charge at the time. When John tries to fly, he winds up creating a bird construct instead, I think because when he was thinking about flying, he was thinking of...
Okay. Can somebody help me out with this right here, right? In this scene, Hal tells John he wants him to go back to his house back in Coast City and go get the lantern so that he could charge his ring. He sends John back on some private, go do this, yo rookie, go do this. He sends this man all the way back to Coast City. I'm not sure what Coast City is in proximity to Rushville, Nebraska, but he had to get on a plane to get there. You send this grown man all the way back to your house to go get that lantern. The whole time, after John tries to fly, he comes up with this construct of a bird, the bird that you see sitting on his shoulder right now. He tells John, he said, I have another task for you since I'm training you. He said, keep that bird alive as a construct until you get back here from Coast City. If the construct dies, you fail. Last I checked, I heard like there was a certain vicinity or proximity you had to be in relation to the ring to where how strong your construct could come out. I think after he unasses the area, the construct's supposed to die anyway. But John got it there and he got it back. Is it a possibility that John is way stronger than Hal has ever been? Hal Jordan's supposed to be the best Green Lantern ever in history, like in the history of the Corps. He is the best Green Lantern. Is John stronger than him?
Birds, so that's what actually was made by the construct, an actual bird itself. And even though Hal is kind of pissed, like, what? How come you can't fly? I thought it was so simple. He's also extremely impressed that his construct is a living bird and it's way more detailed than his own constructs, and his willpower is so strong. John's willpower is so strong that he's able to keep it alive for the entire episode, even without the ring on the other side of the country. This is why they have those lines from Antan later in the episode saying this is one of the most impressive things that he's ever seen. Like, what? You're doing this without a ring? This is crazy. You're a genius. You're like a Green Lantern savant. So they're showing how John Stewart will be very powerful with his ring, but his
I saw this cartoon and it was fire.
Mind works so differently. It's all about the details function in a way that Hal is not with his constructs because he's an architect. So the things that he does with his ring will be very different from what Hal Jordan does with his ring. There are a lot of different practical tutorials we get in this episode, like explainers for how the ring works, how the battery works, and how a lot of other things in the universe work. So the ring announces it's low on charge. I'm not sure who's voicing the ring. I didn't see the name in the credits. It's not Hal's voice. It sounds kind of like Alan Tudyk, but you can let me know if you think you know who that is. Hal then teaches John a very important lesson. This is actually a pretty big deal. They'll probably use in a later episode. There's a special one-time trick that all Green Lanterns or all Lantern Corps can use. Hitting the ring flush on something like when you get your drink stuck in a vending machine to unshake it, it'll give you an additional couple % charge.
Nah, those rings are like very, very humanized. The fact that it's on that's like the old TV, a motherfucker tell you just hit it on the side and the picture come in. That's one of those moves. Just hit the side of the goddamn joint. The picture straighten itself out.
But it only works once, and the idea is that when they're in a fight, it's like a one-time game winner if their lives are on the line, and they have like the chance to make a one critical hit, whichever villain they're fighting.
You want to know something? I just looked at this. John might be the first one in the DC universe that'll pull a Ryan Reynolds, and he will use the ring to make his own suit, kind of like how Ryan Reynolds had it in the movie. He might be the first person to do that we've seen. So you know what I'm saying, they'll work it in like that to show that he's also stronger than Hal Jordan. when it comes to making these suits, you can make them from your mind or whatever, as long as it's still in the same color scheme and you still have the Green Lantern symbol on your uniform. You can pretty much make your uniform look like whatever, as long as it's in the same color scheme and, got the symbol showing. John might be the first person to actually pull the Ryan Reynolds version. I would love to see that.
So they can get the edge with a little extra juice for long enough to get one last big attack in with the ring before it totally loses its charge. 100%, I definitely think that Jon Stewart is going to wind up using this trick in a later episode. Like, his ring will be so low on charge, but it'll wind up punching somebody else in the face to give his ring an extra tiny little charge that will help him win some other bigger fight. This is also to let you know that Hal lied to the alien last week that he did not bring his battery with him to recharge the ring. Otherwise, he would have done it a long time ago.
By the way, still got to remember from episode 1, Hal Jordan in 2026 is dead. This is taking place back in 2016. Hal Jordan in the current timeline is dead. And if you know a little something about Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, who we've already been introduced in that whack-ass Superman movie, that mid-ass Superman movie. Don't nobody smoke mid, nigga. That mid-ass Superman movie. We've already been introduced to the Guy Gardner Green Lantern. So I have a theory that the ring flew off of Hal, if that's actually Hal Jordan's dead body. It flew off of him and then went to Guy Gardner, which is why he's Green Lantern with the Justice Gang and why we will end up seeing him later on in this season.
Setting up the next pick, sending Jon Stewart on a fetch quest to go back to Coast City and pick up his lantern battery so that he can recharge the ring in full. Also giving us a whole bunch of Easter eggs for Hal Jordan's backstory too in the DCU. He makes another joke about putting him back on a plane, but he's paying for the ticket himself this time, which is uncharacteristically nice of him. Also find out that he has something against middle seats on airplanes. He's a test pilot who doesn't like the middle seat on airplanes.
Seats in the middle too. Nobody wants those.
And they also make the joke about Jon Stewart potentially.
Nah, that ain't no test pilot shit. You tell me right now if you were ever a person that wants a middle seat on an airplane. No, nobody wants that. He's just being honest.
Almost dying if he had been able to fly because the ring was so low on charge. It meant that Hal Jordan wasn't really thinking about that, but also probably didn't think that Jon Stewart was going to be able to fly, so that's why he wasn't worried about him potentially dying if he were up mid-air and the ring ran out of charge. Bringing it back around to the title of the episode, Trust Fall. Currently, their level of trust is very low. But Hal Jordan really, really needs that lantern battery to continue doing what he is doing here in Rushville, and he can't leave the town because they just learned about an even bigger alien conspiracy involving the Manhunters eventually. We find out the reason that Hal Jordan keeps the key to his place on a rock outside the front door is the reason why he's trusting is because no criminal would dare to try and rob him unless they...
Nah, when we found out that this was Hal Jordan's house, and he was, John started asking the real questions. He said, man, look at this house, bro. He said, hold up, man. He was like, how much do Green Lanterns get paid? Because, you know what I'm saying? Joe voice, I want to know. You know what I'm saying? He was like, not that great. He was like, somebody gifted me a house. I guess he had Hal Jordan had gotten to a bet with some dude and he lost, and Hal kept emasculating him. That was actually the word he used. So he said the dude instead gifted me a house instead of, repaying the debt. But if you really take a look, the house is not really lived in. It don't look like your boy is actually there. I think he got a problem with loneliness. I think Hal Jordan is a really, really lonely character, which is why he doesn't fear anything. There's no fear of loss when you've already lost everything that you could lose. You know what I'm saying? Even look, this chair right here, he got a big ass screen TV and a lawn chair. Ain't no grown man over the age of 40 finna sit in that. Ain't no grown man over the age of 35 finna sit in that for no long period of time. You're not watching no football game in this. I'm not anyway. I'm grown now. I need a puffy chair or something like that. Hey, you talking about?
Had a death wish, and because he literally has nothing to steal inside the house. It's just an empty house with a couple of chairs and a bed, and that's it. He sets up the bit with his living plant that's named Earl, his sentient plant. They never tell us what species it's from. There are several different sentient plants that actually serve the Green Lantern.
That's crazy. That's a sentient plant as a Green Lantern. That's crazy.
Lantern Corps, but it just sounds like he picked this one up on one of his missions off-world somewhere. Chekhov's carnivorous alien plant, I 100% also think they're going to use this for some future payoff bit in a future episode where it eats a person.
I hope I see that. Don't introduce us to the feed me Seymour, and don't introduce us to Little Shop of Horrors and you don't use it. That's a plant flirkin or something. You know what I'm saying? From the Marvel universe.
John's other mission that he gives him is to keep his bird construct alive until he returns. Hal saying that once you lose concentration on it enough, it dissipates, and it's a good lesson. Do not fail. So I also think that they'll pay this off in some other future episode too, where John creates some construct that he keeps alive for multiple episodes, like for a much longer period. There aren't any changes to the opening titles. There's just very simple opening titles here. But like I said in the previous video, it starts with a yellow color radiating out of Hal Jordan's ring, which I think is setting up the idea of the parallax twist, the Yellow Lantern Corps, and all the Sinestro backstory.
Okay. I could see that. Might we see Yellow Lanterns by the end of this season? I believe Sinestro is going to break out, and we will see the beginnings of the Sinestro Corps. He might even recruit some of these punks that Hal and John end up having to fight in 2016.
Stuff leading it to the end of the season. Anytime you see yellow next to Hal Jordan or yellow next to Green Lantern related stuff, it's just parallax coded. He then goes back to the football field to start investigating more. Notice the banner behind him. The school colors are green and yellow. Anytime you see yellow, like I said on the series, it feels like a Yellow Lantern fear reference. He then clocks the special alien detectors in the metal detector. Like, they're not metal detectors, they're alien detectors, where they use for...
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. John was wild in this episode, bro. That man went and got... he went and snuck in the morgue while everybody was at a town meeting, stole the bodies of the supposed aliens that are masquerading as humans. He stole their bodies and started walking them through the metal detector. Then he ripped the grill off of the Toyota rental that they had and walked that through the metal detector just to see, I just want to see if anything's off. And that's when he noticed that the metal detectors actually have alien detectors on them. So it's 2016 and the DC universe knows of beings from other planets. That probably is a scary thing. You know what I'm saying? As a regular human, everybody would be scared of an invasion,
A couple of comedic bits with him trying to test them out. Then uses the last little bit of his Green Lantern ring charge to find all the cars at the town hall for the meeting. What a way to use your last remaining charge. They're also careful to show you that the metal detectors here are regular metal detectors, unlike the ones at the field. They have another comedic bit here where they basically then use name like got metal detectors, they're alien detectors, where they use for a couple of comedic bits with him trying to test them out. Then uses the last little bit of his Green Lantern ring charge to find all the cars at the town hall for the meeting. What a way to use your last remaining charge. They're also careful to show you...
If you look right here, that's another alien detector. That is also another alien detector.
That the metal detectors here are regular metal detectors, unlike the ones at the field. They have another comedic bit here where they basically turn him into the Norman Rockwell meme, like guy has an opinion that everybody else doesn't think is very popular. The entire town deciding what they're going to do about the tragedy that recently happened, like should we have the football game on Friday, should we not have it? And most of the town seems like they still want to have it and just continue with life as normal. And Sheriff Carey is also trying to keep things as normal as possible.
This might be a whole room full of aliens, bruh. I just got a feeling. This is a whole room, a whole town full of aliens, and they might be seeking refuge on Earth in this little small town where nobody's paying attention so that they can just go on living life. But that would bear the question of, since we have a whole town full of aliens, when did they get here? What happened to their planet, and why did they get here?
Possible in town. Billy Macon then says that they got the judge to drop the charges on Hal. It's free of charge because William Macon, his father, now sounds like he really wants Hal to leave town.
Yeah. That motherfucker is hiding something. He's hiding something. Definitely. Weapons of mass destruction. He might be an alien himself. Like I said, I think the whole town is full of aliens.
Really wants Hal to leave town. Mostly because he doesn't want Hal finding out about everything that he's doing on his property and who this mysterious alien benefactor is giving him all the advanced alien technology. More on that in a second, because I definitely think it's related to what's happening with the other alien group that Antan is from and what the Guardians are doing with the Manhunter. Hal Jordan mentioning how the alien refugee that sacrificed himself is going on about vengeance is talking about how his people were killed in the intergalactic war because of what the Manhunter did. It's the same group that Antan's people came from that captured Jon Stewart later in the episode. They're all meant to be from the same alien race that was wiped out by the Manhunter, and they're seeking revenge. That's why they were in Rushville looking for the Manhunter. Hal then guesses correctly it was Macon's men who shot the 4 other aliens in the football field they found.
See, this is what I'm talking about. How did he know exactly which people to shoot if they're not? Yeah. Everybody except for the sheriff and their child, and her child, who might be half alien. Everybody else is aliens. Ain't no motherfucking way. Everybody else is aliens.
Dead in episode 1, despite Macon not mentioning it, because of the alien detector that was given to them by another mysterious benefactor. You also notice that Hal Jordan answers Carrie when she calls Billy honey, and they start setting up more chemistry between the two characters from episode 1. Like, this is just continuing the bit where they, by the end of the episode, feel kind of like an old married couple in the hospital scenes.
So, what's with Sinestro?
When Jon Stewart calls him, we get a little bit more backstory on Hal Jordan inside the DCU. They use it mostly for jokes, but a little bit of lore explaining on what's happened with him over the history of his career as Green Lantern in the DCU. The reason why he has the crazy huge mansion is not because he's rich. He is still poor, like he almost has zero money. He also implies the Guardians do not pay you any money, which is the reason why Guy Gardner in present day is working for Maxwell Lord and the Justice Gang, because he does pay a salary. So that's where all the Justice Gang get their money from.
Sounds about right. I'm just out here putting my life on the line. Any one of these aliens in space can kill me and I'm not getting paid for it? Nick, please.
Also, the reason why they're wearing all those terrible looking costumes, because it's a corporate team, it's a corporate funded team. And the reason why he has the mansion and there's no furniture in it, like besides a chair, like a blackboard here and a bed, is because he saved a rich kid's son and he felt bad. So he let the rich guy buy him a house. But that's it. Like, he didn't give him the furnishing.
I thought the rich guy lost a bet to him, but he saved the man's son, so he gifted him a crib.
So that's why the house doesn't have any real big furnishings. And he's been living here for the past 8 years, meaning that was in 2008, 2 years after he left his last recording in the ring. Remember, that was the 2006 recording that we saw in episode 1 that gave Jon Stewart the message to give to Hal about the aliens in Rushville.
I think John's probably going to move into Hal's old house. It would only be right.
So there's still a lot of stuff we don't know about what was going on in 2006 and why Hal Jordan stopped recording his backups in the ring at the time. We get another big joke where you see a picture of his paying off the Easter egg from episode 1 with all the Harry Potter talk. Turns out he's just a massive Harry Potter fan, went to the premieres of the movies and got to meet the cast. So like he's friends in the real life of the DCU with Daniel Radcliffe.
Well, then tell that nigga to go to Marvel and be Wolverine then, nigga, if y'all supposed to be real life friends, motherfucker.
Emma Watson and Rupert Grint. So now him yelling at the alien about Harry Potter lore actually makes more sense. He's got pictures with all the different U.S. presidents since he got the Green Lantern ring back in the 80s. And also one of the big ones here, too. You see a shot of him, a picture in the full.
That's an old school Green Lantern fit. I think that's what everybody wants the fit to look like. That's what everybody wants it to look like. That's like old school, super duper Green Lantern fans. They want his uniform to look like that. But as I have said, he's modeled it after his test pilot suit. He might have just upgraded it over time.
And also one of the big ones here, too, you see a shot of him, a picture in the full Green Lantern suit with the mask from the comics, too. So he does have the mask. A lot of people were asking about this when we first got the trailers because none of the trailer footage has him wearing the mask ever. Him with the Pope, and then back in Rushville, he goes to the morgue, finds the alien bodies, and uses them to find out about the alien detector. Jon Stewart then finds all of Hal Jordan's Green Lantern suits. He's got multiple physical suits for when one of them gets damaged. And the one that's not in the bag just has a bunch of battle damage on it, and it's green and faded from wear and tear, which he winds up bringing back for Hal Jordan. And even though he complains about it, he winds up needing it so that he can fly to visit Sinestro and learn more about the Manhunters.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit was fire. Because when they were talking, you know, he was in there trying on. John was in the house trying with like kind of imagining himself with Hal Jordan's uniform on as the Green Lantern. And he was like, yo, you want me to bring a suit? He was like, nah, I don't want you to bring a suit or whatever. So John ended up bringing the suit anyway because he said, I'm an old soldier. I can't disrespect the uniform. You need it out here. You over here free copping it and all that, you know what I'm saying? Plain clothing it. People might take you a little bit more seriously if you put on the uniform.
The bag just has a bunch of battle damage on it, and it's green and faded from wear and tear, which he winds up bringing back for Hal Jordan. And even though he complains about it, he winds up needing it so that he can fly to visit Sinestro and learn more about the Manhunters. So even though Hal Jordan is complaining all the time, 24/7, about Jon Stewart, he's actually very appreciative of some of the things that he's doing. Like, oh, that was very considerate that you brought my suit because I now need it to fly through space. Technically, the power of the ring should be enough for that. He shouldn't need the suit to actually fly through deep space. But I think the idea is they just fly into the situation. So he wants the security that the armor brings, like the added padding, the security that it brings.
No, you got to start taking this shit seriously. Now there's a different threat that's being talked about within Rushville, Nebraska, which is manhunters. I want everybody to just look up, Google DC manhunters, and you'll know exactly why they're so dangerous. Basically, a quick little bullet point about manhunters. Before the Green Lantern Corps was born, the Guardians, came to be, and they decided that they were going to be the guardians over all sectors of the universe. And their first creations to police the universe were these android alien manhunters. They're extremely powerful. They got dispersed onto all these different worlds. And one day they just kind of became self-aware, and what they deemed as crime, it was punishable by death, straight up. You jaywalk, you die. It was one of those type situations. So they went off the rails. They went all Big Brother Eye, all Meg, all motherfuckers, and they went off and started doing their own thing. Now, maybe they're infiltrating Earth because they have a plan on an invasion, which is what everybody is scared of. Manhunters ain't no hoes either. Go look them up and see their powers. Imagine an army of them.
Maybe he was also trying to intimidate Sinestro a little bit, although it did not look like Sinestro was very intimidated by the sight of him. John then sees what he looked like in the Green Lantern suit, and Hal makes a joke about not being able to go to the bathroom in the suit, which is a meta joke about the actors in real life not being able to pee in their super suits, like the physical suits that they wear when they're filming. Christian Bale made a big deal about this when he said he met Ben Affleck after he'd been cast by Zack Snyder to be his Batman in Batman v Superman in the Justice League. That was his one note he gave to Ben Affleck. Just make sure they build you a Batman suit that it's easy for you to go to the bathroom while you're wearing. Because historically, like the Marvel movies and all the DC movies going way, way back in the day, it used to take actors up to like an hour to get.
I'm sorry. This is the best live action comic book accurate Batman. Ben Affleck. Do you remember the fight scene in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice? Do you guys remember that scene? That is comic book accurate Batman to me. Well, maybe the closest thing to the Arkham Batman that we'll see.
Get out of the suit just so they could go to the bathroom. So it would take forever on set. So a lot of times actors would just go without drinking anything for long periods, which is actually kind of bad. Like you do want to drink water every once in a while during the course of a day so they wouldn't have to go to the bathroom. Tom Holland also made a big deal about this with the brand new Spider-Man suit in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That suit, he said, is way more comfortable and it's way easier for him to walk around in all day and go to the bathroom in than his previous MCU Spider-Man suits.
What if we made a suit that was an homage to Tobey's and Andrew's designs, because now my Peter Parker had met those guys?
When it actually comes to Jon Stewart's Green Lantern suit, I think we're going to see that somewhere around the middle of the season, and it's going to look different from Hal Jordan's suits. Like, it won't look like one of these suits.
Hold on. Jaguar Actual said, or they could watch 2011 3D cartoon Green Lantern, the animated series, or Justice League Season 1, Episode 4 in Blackest Day Part 1, and Episode 5 in Blackest Night Part 2 from 2001. You're saying as far as them getting information on the lore of Manhunters, this, you know what? You're right. Get yourself some good entertainment. That's some homework for everybody. If you're watching the show, go look all this stuff up and you will get well versed on Manhunters.
He then finds Hal Jordan's vault that holds the lantern battery for security. It's a pocket dimension and it's voice activated. The key access phrase is Mogo doesn't socialize. So I love the idea that at some point across his history as a Green Lantern, like in the 80s when he was first a Green Lantern, he tried to socialize with Mogo, the living sentient planet who became a Green Lantern. So Mogo is now canon to the DCU, which feels like a very James Gunn thing to do, like as weird as possible, boom, canonize it. One of Mogo's other tasks is also helping to guide Green Lantern rings to new hosts when the old ones die. So we'll see.
Oh, that's fire. Okay. Mogo doesn't socialize.
If they pay that off later this season too, like if Jon Stewart winds up meeting Mogo. But I do think we'll see a bunch of other Green Lanterns from other planets later this season, in addition to Guy Gardner from the future, closer to present day. And it feels like Jon Stewart's bird construct also helps him find the battery here. So, like, even though they played the joke of the bird still being alive throughout the episode, like, is it still alive? Did you hurt my bird? Is the bird still around? The bird actually does try to help him actively through each of the different things he encounters in the episode. And we got our first look at the DCU Lantern battery that all members of the Green Lantern Corps.
I like that lantern battery. I like the way it looks. I love that right there. That's fire. I might go get a replica of that. Hopefully it light up. That'd be kind of fire.
Or get, they contain a portion of the power from the main power battery.
That shit is fuego. And then it's like a little place for them to place the ring in so they can get the actual charge.
On Oa, which we will also probably see at some point later this season too, like the actual main battery itself. Because it winds up being Jon to feed Hal's pet Earl Jordan, the sentient plant, I think that Jon will be the one to use it later to wind up eating somebody else or like eating something big. Like they'll use it for some other big payoff later this season. On his way out, Jon gets captured by Antan's group. Like I said, it's the same group as the aliens who were killed by Macon's men and the one who sacrificed himself at the end of episode 1, all looking for the Manhunter to try and get revenge for killing off their entire race. Carrie catches Hal on his way back to the morgue with the bodies, which they use for another big joke. She also lets him know that she's like 4 steps ahead of him. She knew all about the metal detector's secret.
Man, that shit was funny as hell. She pulled that fool over. I said, I don't know who this is that's about to pull him over. He gets pulled over with all 4 of the bodies that I told you he stole from the morgue earlier in the episode. I said, how is he going to pull off the fact that he's just riding in the back with 4 naked, dead white men? That shit is funny as hell. My man was like, well, we here now.
Metal detectors secretly being alien detectors and what Macon is up to, but she's trying to keep the peace. So she's trying to keep things as quiet as possible, but she is meant to be a good person. She's not trying to sweep it
Nah, he put the seatbelt on that motherfucker too.
all under the rug or anything like that. Playing into the theme of the episode, trust fall, the idea that they're trying to trust each other, like she started to trust him a little bit more and he started to trust her a little bit more too. They have another joke when he gets real excited hearing that her marriage isn't going that well. Like I said, he's interested in her. They feel kind of like an old married couple at the hospital later in the episode too. She also jokes
He'd fuck her over.
it's totally normal for people in the DCU Earth to be obsessed with aliens, because if it wasn't clear in episode 1, people on Earth, like regular people, have known aliens exist for a long time in the DCU. It's not a big secret. So this is why when Superman reveals himself as Superman closer to present day, people aren't like completely blown away, only that he's super powerful, but not that he's an alien. Like, oh yeah, we knew about aliens. They exist. There's another one living amongst us who's trying to help us. But this time when they go to talk to Macon, he wants nothing to do with Hal Jordan and tries to get rid of him as quickly as possible with a gun. All because Hal Jordan clocks that the advanced alien detectors are crazy advanced technology that Macon wouldn't normally have access to. He'd have to have a mysterious benefactor who was an alien themselves.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And he underselling the Macon gets rid of him with a gun. Them niggas shot Hal Jordan right in his shit, right in his shoulder. They shot him to get him off the land because I'm guessing in Nebraska, if somebody comes on your land, they are trespassing without otherwise having permission and can be shot. Nothing will happen to you. You're well within the law to put a bullet in somebody if they come on your property. You don't have to give them a warning saying, get off my land. You can just shoot them.
And he's probably hiding a whole bunch more advanced alien technology on the planet. So who is that mysterious benefactor? Is it the Manhunter himself? Is it the Guardians? Or is it another alien race? He makes another big movie reference to Kaiser Soze, which is a reference to The Usual Suspects. He was the main villain who orchestrated everything in the movie, pretending to be the meek verbal Kint hiding in plain sight. So Hal is accusing Macon of just pretending like his boss is real, but really it's just him doing everything. But I think they're setting up the idea that he is playing somebody from the comics and just using a false name. Like people.
Who do we think that Mr. Macon here could be playing? I'm hearing whispers in the wind that he might be playing a guy by the name of Black Hand. That dude built in the comic books, Black Hand, William Hand built a technology that could drain the power rings from the Green Lanterns. It could drain their power and he could use it for himself.
Been thinking that maybe he's playing Black Hand because he's William Macon on the show, but he might be playing William Hand. But I'm starting to think, based on what Antan was telling Jon Stewart about the Manhunters having alien technology and seeding it on different planets without people knowing about it, is that maybe the Manhunter is supplying all the advanced alien technology to Macon's group, and is just using them to get rid of any other aliens that show up in town trying to kill it. So early theory, just based on the events of the.
Okay. I could see that. The original Manhunter, the one that's running around town, he's paying people to keep other people off his asses. Okay.
This episode is that the mysterious benefactor might be the Manhunter, or Macon himself might be the Manhunter pretending to be human.
Is he even real, or is this some Kaiser Sose situation?
Oh, I assure you he's very real.
Because later in the episode, Antan tells Jon Stewart that the Manhunter taking human form can be killed just like a human, has regular human weaknesses, so biologically they read as human, meaning that it could also father eventually a grandchild that Billy Macon's son is. So
do we feel like William Hand might be the actual Manhunter? Give me your theories in the comments there as to who you think might be the actual Manhunter, or are there a group of Manhunters in this town?
Technically, it would make sense how the grandson could exist. They just really want you to wonder who William Macon actually is and who this mysterious benefactor is, if they're not the same person, or maybe they are the same person. Jon Stewart then gets interrogated by Antan and gives him a deep explainer on the Manhunters and Green Lantern comic book lore. He knows all about the Green Lantern core powers and abilities, and is surprised that Jon Stewart.
Yeah, the Antan dude, let me see. Man, Phil Russo here is not a human. He might be, well, we know he's not a human, but he has the name of Anton, like Anton or whatever. Antaan. This might be Atrocitus. I'm telling y'all, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, man.
On the Manhunters and Green Lantern comic book lore. He knows all about the Green Lantern core powers and abilities, and is surprised that Jon Stewart's able to maintain his construct without the ring nearby, which is extremely hard to do, and he's trying to recruit Jon Stewart to their cause because they ultimately want to get revenge for the destruction of their race. Jon Stewart doesn't know anything about the Manhunters because the Guardians and Hal haven't told him anything about them.
Jaguar Actual says, nah, not Macon himself. I think he's a human bigot. I buy the Manhunter being the benefactor, but a Manhunter is synthetic. It can't clap any cheeks or get anyone pregnant to the best of my knowledge. Again, we over here in a whole nother universe where they could take some old shit, mix it with some new shit, and it'd be some new bullshit. And it'd be just, you know what I'm saying, specifically for this universe.
Or the history of the Green Lantern.
Which isn't a bad thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Take some old stuff, put a new spin on it, and make it your own.
Corps in general, because there are a lot of secrets that the Green Lantern Corps keeps that Sinestro eventually winds up learning about in the comics, which lead to his rebellion eventually, which I think they're adapting for the TV show. But also at this point, Hal Jordan himself also doesn't know that much about the Manhunters because the Guardians kept that secret from him too. We also find out from his explainer that Antan does not know that the Manhunters were created by the Guardians of Oa. He just says in the ancient history of the universe was in chaos. Then the Manhunters showed up out of nowhere. They didn't know where they came from. But in the comics, the Guardians of Oa created the Manhunters.
Facts.
They were meant to be the first attempt of the Guardians of Oa to create an interstellar police force that will combat evil all over the galaxy. The Guardians feeling like they would be the most efficient way to police the universe to bring peace and balance to the universe, because as inorganic beings, as machines, they were not susceptible to the emotional spectrum. However, the Manhunters became obsessed with the act of hunting criminals, and their code, "No man escapes the Manhunters," became more important to them than seeing justice done, and they eventually felt like the only way to truly pacify the universe was to eradicate the source of crime, to kill all living beings, which
Oh,
eventually
damn.
led to the massacre of entire races across the universe, entire sectors of space, including Sector 666, which is where Atrocitus, the leader of the Red Lanterns, came from. He eventually creates the 5 inversions, and they dedicate themselves to destroying the Guardians and finding out where the Manhunters came from.
This is who I think that Anton character is playing. Confirmed both by cartoons. Facts. This is who I think he's playing, y'all. Atrocitus.
In eradicating that source. So it all leads to this intergalactic conflict where everybody has this beef against the Guardians for what the Manhunters did. Later, we find out the reason why the Manhunters started doing this, killing innocent races before they could commit crimes, Minority Report style, was because somebody, another one of the Guardians, a rogue Guardian, reprogrammed to prove that they were a bad idea, that the Guardians should not have used them in the first place. The Guardians themselves then eventually put down the Manhunters, tried to get rid of them, and hide all knowledge of their existence, and then replace them with the Green Lantern Corps that you know, with living beings. So based on the fact that a lot of the main characters don't know that much about Manhunters, they're making it seem like the Guardians have been trying to keep the secret of their failure with the Manhunters and what they did for a long, long time now.
That's exactly what happened. Because again, the Guardians are basically like gods, and gods are always supposed to seem perfect. There are no gods that are perfect.
What do you know about manhunters?
Where'd you hear that word?
Antan then tells John Stewart that the Guardians sent a Green Lantern to capture the Manhunter, and despite assuring them they destroyed, that didn't happen, and the Guardians swept what happened under the rug. So the way that Hal Jordan talks later in the episode, he thinks that that Guardian was Abin Sur, so the Guardians actually tasked him with bringing him to Rushville to hide the Manhunter. And at least Hal believes that the Manhunter was who killed Abin Sur, which is how he initially got the ring in 1986. Antan is also very careful to tell John Stewart that the Guardian can make themselves look like any other race, embed themselves in any other race organically, and also builds extremely advanced alien technology on these different planets, which is why I think that the Manhunter might be behind all of Macon's advanced technology that he has.
Okay, now I would definitely agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. The Manhunter would probably be a mysterious benefactor, but he might be hiding in plain form. We might have already met the Manhunter, and he might be hiding in plain form, in human form. He might be another character that we've already met.
They also then force John Stewart to see what the massacre of their race looked like. He calls it the effects of their collective laws. So they're just going to leave John Stewart with all the feelings for a minute. He just has to sit there and stew in their feelings for a while. Antan then reveals their group learned that the Manhunter was in Rushville, and within an hour of that, Hal Jordan shows up with all the dead alien bodies then there. So it sounds like Macon's group was part of that different group. Like I said, it might be the Manhunter supplying him, trying to keep itself safe by using his group to kill other aliens that show up in town looking for it. Also letting him know that they can't waltz into town without starting off an intergalactic war, wiping Rushville off the map. But he has 48 hours, and they're doing it after that. They don't care if everybody dies after that.
Oh, yeah. So who I deem to be the Red Lanterns, they said, look, dude, they told John Stewart, look, dude, you got to go get us information on the Manhunters, and you got about 48 hours to do so. If you don't come back with what we need to know, we're going to take this town out. We don't care. How many movies have y'all seen where it's been some sort of outbreak or some sort of war, and the first thought you had was just drop a nuke on the whole town and get it over with? They'll rebuild. You know what I'm saying? Like you, especially like them zombie movies, or like the motherfuckers from A Quiet Place, those aliens. Man, just drop a nuke on that whole entire city, everywhere that we. Get it over with. Don't let it spread any further.
This also makes me think that's what all the battle damage at Macon's ranch was from 2026 at the end of episode 1 when John Stewart is driving by. Like, it looks like there was a war that went down on Macon's compound, and that might have been from Antan's group. 48 hours feels like the next couple of episodes, like we have till episode 4 where they pay this off, or maybe the end of episode 3. Carrie then takes Hal to the hospital after Macon's men shoot him. They have a very husband and wife vibe, like a little bit of bickering, but like a loving kind of bickering going on between the two of them. She then drops a Sinestro-sized bomb on him, like, tell me all about Sinestro. Who's this Sinestro person that you keep talking about in your sleep? Which
Yeah, she also broke into his phone and was like, nah, look like you got notes about Sinestro. He was your mentor until he turned and killed, what does this say? She had his phone, a bunch of the bosses. And, he's a pretty bad guy. This fool, Hal, feels so much fear that he's saying Sinestro's name in his sleep. Could we be leading towards Hal embracing the fear situation? Because this is back in 2016, not in 2026 when he's dead with a bullet in his head in that football field.
he absolutely refuses to talk about because it's so traumatic for him. He makes this big deal about not being authorized to talk about Sinestro, but the reality is that it's too painful for him to talk about, so he doesn't want to talk about it. We get another funny moment where the internet solves a lot of problems, and we find out that just like a regular human internet on Earth has all these details about Sinestro. It's like common knowledge that any regular human could look up. Carrie is basically reading Wikipedia on Sinestro here inside the DCU. The common knowledge is that Sinestro was a lantern, attempted a coup, killed one of the Guardians, like the Guardians of Oa, the really powerful ones, and Hal Jordan apprehended him. And that's meant to be where the wiki stops. Like, you don't know why Sinestro rebelled, but I think it has to do with what happened with the Manhunters and the secret part of the prophecy that the Guardians of Oa were hiding that talks about the other lantern spectrum. All the pretty different colors of the different emotional spectrum. When he mentions Tom Osborne, that's the famous Nebraska football coach that they used in episode 1 when they were trying to trick the alien. Carrie explains she wants to help Hal Jordan uncover this larger mystery, talk some sense into them though so that they can work together, but she wants to keep things a little more chill and a little more on the DL because of what Macon is doing in the town. On their way out of the hospital, there's
Why do I feel like she might end up getting clipped, bruh? I feel like she might end up getting clipped in 2016 for some odd reason.
a lot of interesting things. There are like 3 or 4 different moments and looks that they share with each other, like very loaded looks. But also, he notices that he's the only person that's visited the hospital recently, and all the equipment looks like it's never been used. So it's almost like the hospital is just a front.
See, and this is why I said I think this is a town full of aliens. It could be lesser life forms that the Manhunter has employed to keep folks off his ass. I don't know. Or could he be coming up with medicine to the point where it's being passed out amongst the people to where they're not getting sick or anything like that? Because, it's a technical. Yeah. Do you mean you think the sheriff will get? Yeah, I think she's going to get clipped, bro. For some odd reason, I'm just getting that feeling that she's going to get clipped in 2016 somehow, some way. That hug that she gave Jon Stewart in the first episode, I know he came through at the last minute and saved the day, because when you first see her, when she first meets the two of them, she's not so close and so loving. She gave John a hug when she saw him.
So now you wonder who is creating the front of all this stuff around town. Are the people also real too? Are they just a front too? It kind of seems like this whole town of Rushville is just built just to hide the Manhunter. Now you kind of wonder, did the Manhunter engineer all this, or are the Guardians trying to hide the Manhunter here, engineering all this stuff?
Half the equipment looks like it was just taken out of the crate.
On their way out, one of the even bigger lore dumps we get from her, it's very casual the way she does it, but it's a big Batman Easter egg. She says that she is from Gotham originally, she moved to Rushville on a whim, and the wiki now lists her as Carrie Kane, aka Batwoman. When she says the circumstances for how she wound up moving out here is a story, quote unquote, and why she left Gotham, that probably has something to do with Batman and his rogues gallery of villains, but it's also a reference to the comics too. Like, it's a story in a whole bunch of comics why I moved out here. This is meant to be 2016.
That's what I said. I think she's going to get clipped in 2026. I meant to say 2026, not 2016.
Jordan's meant to be in, I think, his early 50s, and I think that Carrie is supposed to be in her 40s, like her later 40s maybe. So if she was Batwoman at some point in the DCU with our DCU Batman, who we still have yet to actually see, a lot of Easter eggs for him, he would have been around for a long time at this point. Her being Batwoman or a vigilante at some point would have been a long time ago in her past when she was younger. But a lot of this also depends on how old exactly DCU Batman winds up being. Old enough to have Damian Wayne, but he's not as old as Ben Affleck's Batman, who was supposed to be like a late 40-something, early 50-something Batman.
By the way, I have heard rumors that Batman Brave and the Bold from DC Studios has been canceled. I have heard that. So I don't know what they got going on with Batman. You know, we got a Clayface movie coming out later this year. And guess what? I wasn't going to see it at first. Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm probably gonna catch Clayface on somebody bootleg. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you at all. Because I'm tired of seeing all this content centered around a certain superhero, but that superhero isn't there. That's why the Sony universe didn't work. Venom, Morbius, with a Craven, Madam Web, all that took place over there, right? That's why I didn't like that universe, because you have a Spider-Man universe with no Spider-Man. All of those Venom movies were buns because there was no Spider-Man. The Craven movie, buns, because there's no Morbius, buns. A superhero villain centric universe without the superhero in it, trash. So when it comes to goddamn watching Clayface in the movie theaters, a story with a Batman villain where they said Batman will not show up in the movie, trash.
My early assumption is based on what James Gunn has said. DCU Batman will be closer to his 30s, like old enough to have a Damian Wayne who's old enough to be Robin, but not that old. Everybody pulling out their calculators to do their Batman math. Jon Stewart.
Hold on. And if that's the fucking case, if he's supposed to be a Batman in his 30s, but old enough to have a Damian Wayne, how old is Damian Wayne when he meets up with Batman? Let me see. How old is Damian Wayne when he comes under the care of Bruce Wayne?
Damian Wayne is 10 years old when Bruce Wayne takes care of him.
So we're about to have a 10-year-old out here fighting along. That movie finna be ass, bro. I don't want to see. Don't let this ever come out. Batman the Brave and the Bold. You're going to have whoever you're going to have playing Batman, he going to be rolling around the streets with a 10-year-old. Yes, the movie was buns, but that Sinestro is better than this Sinestro that we're looking at in the damn TV show as far as looks wise. Because again, you're right. I do have to give him a little bit of grace. We haven't really even seen him do anything yet. So you're right. But as far as looks wise, comic book wise, Mark Strong all day.
Damian Wayne who's old enough to be Robin, but not that old. Everybody pulling out their calculators to do their Batman math. Jon Stewart then makes it back to town.
That grown man finna be running the streets with a 10-year-old.
Out of the diner and winds up running into Zoe, and they have their awkward reunion. She seems like she's kind of enjoying it, like she's meant to be a pretty normal person, messing with him. She confirms her relationship with Macon is unconventional, very complicated, meaning a little more open, but the way she explains it, she doesn't mind being his arm candy for the security of his money, and when she needs a break, she just has her fun. But she does say that she loves Macon still in a very complicated relationship, so it's mostly meant to show you that she doesn't hate Macon or her family. She then gives him some sage Yoda-like relationship wisdom about Hal Jordan and gives him a ride back to the motel. So whatever's going on with Macon, I don't think that Zoe is meant to be like a secret villain or anything like that.
Oh no, I still think she an alien too.
Hal Jordan complains that he didn't want his super suit despite needing the suit to go talk to Sinestro. He makes another movie reference. Dancing around in a bathrobe singing into a hairbrush is a Ferris Bueller's Day Off reference. Hal Jordan confirmed big movie fan. Then in order to recharge his ring, Hal says the Green Lantern Oath again, activating the Lantern battery, but he does like a speed run version of the verse, saying it as quickly as possible. He then
he kind of, the way he said the Green Lantern Oath, it was kind of like, let me get through this so I can get my ring charged. It's almost as if you kind of get the feeling like he really don't believe in the oath no more. That might be why he's over here rolling around looking like an old detective and all of that instead of wanting to put on the suit.
Tells John next episode, their next mission is to find out who Macon's boss is exactly and who's giving him all the weapons and technology. Then they talk about the Manhunters, and Hal reveals that he doesn't think the Guardians would bring the Manhunters here, but then you start to see the wheels in Hal's head start to turn, and he puts two and two together, realizing it was the Guardians who tasked Abensur with bringing the Manhunter here to Rushville to hide. Then he thinks, at least he thinks, the Manhunter killed Abensur, and that's when he got the ring. So you can let me know in the comments if you think it was really the Manhunter that killed Abin Sur after they reached the planet, or if it was somebody else that killed Abin Sur.
How we feeling about this one? Could he have just died from the plane crash, or was he here trying to hide the Manhunter by orders of the Guardians, and the Manhunter escaped and killed him? I mean, it kind of is a whodunit, who is it, what was it type of story. It is like a detective story, so that could come into play.
And the knowledge of the Manhunters freaks Hal Jordan out so much that he takes his super suit, goes to talk to DCU Sinestro, played by Ulrich Thompson from Banshee, who's been sitting in prison ever since Hal Jordan apprehended him, which sounds like it's been a very long time. My early assumption is that it's close to that 2006 date, and that's around the time that Hal Jordan stopped leaving the backups in the ring. When he goes to his prison cell, I'm not sure who was doing the voice of the prison security AI. I didn't see that in the credits, but you can let me know who you think that is in the comments. And he grills him about the Manhunters, and then Sinestro grills him about John Stewart, even though Hal Jordan hasn't been to see him in a very long time, and it sounds like the last time he visited him, John Stewart had not become his protege yet. So,
nah, Hal said, tell me what you know about Manhunters. He was like, then you'll know that that's the second biggest threat that you have before you in the universe. He flipped it on him. What's up with this with this John Stewart cat that you got around you? That's your biggest threat right there. What or who is John Stewart? Why is everybody so shook about him getting a ring and being his own lantern? That's an interesting thing right there.
how does Sinestro know about John Stewart? Maybe this is tied to the idea that the Guardians selected John Stewart as a potential candidate as a ring bearer when he was a baby, like a much earlier in his timeline, and Sinestro just found out about this at some point.
That would imply that the Guardians can tell the future.
So why don't you tell me about John Stewart?
But it sounds like they will get into it at the beginning of next week's episode, so post all your Sinestro theories. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and let me know if you spot.
Salute to Emergency Awesome. That was an awesome way he broke everything down with this episode. On a scale of 1 to 10, tell me how you're feeling about season 1, episode 2 of Lanterns. Are you there yet? Or do you need another episode to be like, all right, now I'm fucking with it? Because, normally with these seasons, they don't shoot a lot of episodes. You know what I'm saying? So tell me in the comments, are you there yet? Does Lanterns have you hooked? You know what I'm saying? Tell me any theories that y'all got, man. This was a great sesh. Again, I had the flying horse vape with the pink panties indica. You know what I'm saying? Chef's kiss to that. This was a great sesh. Thank you for everybody that might have pulled up, man. This is the Offenders Initiative podcast. And I got another live that I'm going to be doing later with Amina Sina, Detroit Kings, India, Inga 71, you know what I'm saying? Possibly Candy Love and all of that. We'll be talking about the newest episode of Fightland. Y'all be easy. Thank y'all, everybody in the comments that pulled up. This is the Offenders Initiative podcast, man. And we out.